I don't know who lied to you, but you don't need balance. Balance is for people who want to be average and who are addicted to comfort. Unless that's your goal, you genuinely need to analyze what actually is balance if you're not where you want to be. Balancing being out of shape, not being where you want to be, not making the money you want. Like, guys, I'm only saying this because I care, but let me tell you, when I first started my business, which was 16 months ago when I dropped out, I didn't think about balance. I just thought only about achieving my goals so that later on I could have balance. Later on, sure, I could use the money to enjoy time with family. But if you're not really doing what you want, why are you thinking about balance? That's just an excuse to stay comfortable. That's an excuse to be addicted to comfort. That's truthfully what it is, because that's just the default of your human biology. And if you acknowledge that, you don't suffer. If you deny it, then you suffer. Because actually think about it, as a human being, you like warm laundry, you like warm food, you like warm temperatures, you like the beach. It's normal to want comfort, just acknowledge it. But if you deny it, well, then you're not even being honest with yourself and you're never gonna actually be able to change. So really think about what you're actually prioritizing when you say balance. It's just an excuse to stay comfortable, which is the default human instinct. To stay comfortable, reproduce, fit in, be a part of the tribe, and reproduce and die. That's the default. To survive, be comfortable, reproduce, and basically just to, leave it at that. That's the default. Now, if you want to achieve something greater in the world of infinite opportunity of 2026 with AI, infinite knowledge, mentors everywhere, social media, the internet, you can't be thinking about balance and your default caveman instincts, which are going to give you caveman results, which are the default of, let's say, it's like cookies and fast food and hedonism and garbage. It's just all made to manipulate your biology. That's what it is. And it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to just acknowledge that. And maybe the beginning of this video might have triggered some type of default emotion inside of you. He's telling me, I'm like, I know, but listen, that's your default. You also need to take accountability for that as well and just realize this is just the way that I am. It's just the way that my default is. Now, you don't have to be susceptible to it. If you're conscious and you rise above it, well, then that's the ultimate power that you have over your mind. Don't let your mind and your brain control you through your instincts. Control your instincts through your own willpower and transform what you see, the way that you see the world. You don't need balance. If you're not where you want to be, what is balance? What are you balancing, right? Because like when you actually start making money, coaching people, not even that. Let's say you never coach. Let's say you just run a business, right? And then you have a girlfriend and then you start having kids and bills and a car note and car insurance. Then you have some kids. Bro, that's when you need to worry about balance. But till then, if you have no kids, if you don't have that many responsibilities to where you're occupied for at least 12 to 16 hours a day, there's no reason that balance should ever be a priority. Let's actually think about it for a second though. You're not gonna feel fulfilled from balance. You're only gonna just be feeding your weakest self, which is the comfortable, weak version. And what's crazy is that when you don't prioritize comfort, you feel more comfortable doing the uncomfortable thing. But when all you prioritize is comfort, your baseline stress threshold goes from here down to here. You just make it weaker. You're making your baseline threshold of what you can endure and the stress that you can actually endure and go through. You make it less and less and less. And you make your threshold less and less and less, when in reality, it could be up here. And what might be hard to one person is light work, and it's literally a walk in the park to another person. But the only difference isn't those people's genetics. It's none of that shit. It's their hormones and their actions. So there's no difference between you and Elon Musk. The only difference is just the actions that he took and his mindset. That's really it. Maybe it's hormonal, it's literally just his mindset. That's it. If you knew what he knew, you would basically become him. Because if you took Elon Musk and put him in your shoes, I bet you'd become a billionaire. Isn't he a trillionaire now? Hold on, let's actually search up Elon Musk's net worth real quick, guys. Give me just a second. What's the difference between you and Elon Musk? You guys drink the same water. Look at this, 950 billion to 1 trillion net worth. What is the actual difference between you and Elon Musk? If Elon Musk, a trillionaire, worth $950 billion, I think that's worth more than some countries. One man is worth more than some countries, and you're thinking about balance. Let's actually think about this for a second. You're literally addicted to comfort. You're genuinely enslaved to your instincts if you're thinking about comfort and you're not viciously, violently self-improving to the point where people think that you're crazy or that you're different. You need to be acting insane if you want to achieve anything that's worthwhile in this one life that you're given. But let's actually think about it. What's the difference between Elon Musk, who wakes up, takes his shit, drinks the same coffee, breathes the same air, bleeds the same blood as you? What's the difference? The only difference is him taking different actions, but the actions, what came before that? The mindset. So he understands his default. He understands that if he just works and subtracts the garbage before he tries to add in the good stuff, he tries to add in the work ethic, he tries to add in the good characteristics, he would become successful. But imagine that Elon Musk had a victim mentality, a passive mentality, an approval-seeking mentality, and an ego-protecting mentality. Do you think that Elon Musk would ever make it to where he's at if he was sitting there having a big ego, never learning anything, thinking that he could just take a hammer and beat it on a fucking space rocket ship and make it fly? No. He probably learned from an engineer. And then he probably didn't move slow to be able to be worth $1 trillion and run Tesla and SpaceX. Do you think that this guy moves slow? If you think that I'm moving quick, holy shit, if you get around some of these people, you're not even gonna think that they're human, you're gonna think that they're psychopaths. But that's genuinely how some people, that's what they value. They value their time because their time is the real currency. But if you're someone who's just, oh, I just want my balance, like, brother, this is exactly the reason that you're gonna end up the same exact version as the average man, which is 5'9", 200 pounds, 28% body fat with a 43% divorce rate and a 1 in 8 chance of being suicidal once in his life. So what are you doing? Do you want to be living that, or do you actually want to achieve something and be great? With all your thousands of ancestors, do you think it's actually worth it to prioritize balance, which we're just going to call it a comfort addiction? It's not even called balance anymore. It's just called a comfort addiction because it's not actually doing anything for you, right? The only thing that you need to be able to balance is more stress. You don't need to be able to balance. Like what balance? Like what the fuck? Like, brother, I used to be like this. Let me tell you guys a story because I actually used to believe in balance. And it was a month after I didn't even focus on it. I thought, oh yeah, you know, it's hard, this and that. Let me start spending more time with this girl. My income went from 10K a month to 8K to 6K to 7K. So it went from 10 to 8 to 6 to 7, just from thinking about balance. And then guess what? I forgot about the girl, got rid of her. The income went from 7 back to 12 to 17 to 15 to 20 to 30 to 25 to 50. So this is what happens when you think about balance. You lose your momentum, you get addicted to comfort, and eventually you get distracted and forget about what actually matters, because distraction at its core is just confusion about what actually matters. Like if you actually thought that your time mattered and your achievement mattered a lot, like you actually genuinely felt like it mattered, you wouldn't be thinking about balance. No, no, no. If someone put a gun to your head and said make $100,000 this month or else you and your whole family die, are you gonna think about fucking balance? Fuck no. You're gonna probably make 100K in that month. You're gonna do the math. Okay, 3.3K a day divided by 16 is roughly $200 an hour. You think that if someone gave you an hour, 60 fucking minutes, which is a long fucking time, let's actually do the math. How much money are you gonna have to make each minute, right? So 200 divided by 60. You think you can't make $3.33 a minute? If someone put a gun to your head with your whole life on the line and your entire fucking family, are you gonna think about balance? Are you gonna do whatever it takes? So it's just confusion about what actually matters, and you think that life is sweet. You think that shit is sweet if you're focused on balance and you're addicted to comfort. It's the same way that people who are given everything handed to them, they have no work ethic. Rich kids who just get everything fucking handed to them, guess what happens? They can't become rich. You wanna know why? Because they have no ability to hunt. Their instincts to hunt and fend for themselves don't exist. They're used to just having a silver platter handed to them. And most men are the same exact way. They're used to DoorDash. They're used to video games. They're used to porn, artificial sex, watching another man get what they want. That's crazy. But listen, you just need to increase your stress tolerance, increase your testosterone, and forget about balance. The only thing that you need to be able to balance in this life is more work, and maybe your relationship with God. That doesn't even take too much balance. That just takes you actually caring about these things. So if you genuinely care, balance is out the equation. You'll just do whatever it takes, right? If someone came up to you with a water gun and started spraying you with that shit and it's uncomfortable, and imagine, like, bro, are you gonna think about, oh, let me think about balance? Bro, what the fuck? You're gonna fight them? You're gonna throw some water back? You're gonna run away? The same thing applies. You're literally just addicted to comfort. Maybe that wasn't a good analogy, but listen, thinking about balance is just a comfort addiction. And a comfort addiction is not the same thing as living. It's simply rotting away. It's waiting to die. If you have a comfort addiction, you are literally waiting to die. Because what else are you actually doing? What are you actually achieving by being addicted to comfort? Nothing. You're literally wasting 16 hours a day. When if someone came to you with $100 million and you would take it, but die tomorrow, you still wouldn't take it. So you know subconsciously that your time is worth more than the money, but you don't consciously act like that. And that's unalignment. And most men are unaligned and addicted to comfort because they don't understand and aren't well versed on their own nature. That's what it is. So if you are well versed on your own nature, that your default is to be having sex, eating good food, being warm, surviving, reproducing, and dying, then just understand that and control the instincts. You're currently running on the same biological hardwiring that your hundreds of thousands of years and millions of years of evolution and ancestry got. Like, that's what you're running on. You're running on those default settings. You're not running on 2026 hardwiring. 2026 hardwiring with all this AI shit, it takes a lot of adaptation to really be able to adapt to that shit. So yeah, I mean, it does require you to be able to adapt fast, but be conscious and adapt quickly, or else you're gonna stay stuck on the default settings as your fucking caveman ancestors. That's just the truth. Comfort, sex, survival, that's the fucking default. You're worth more than that default because you're not running away from saber-toothed tigers anymore, right? You're not worried about fighting tribes anymore. No. You can invent shit, bro. You can become a great author, a great artist. You could become a great fighter. You could become a great speaker. You could become an architect, an innovator, an inventor. You can become anything that you want. But if you're too busy focused on GTA 6 and beating your meat, you know what you're gonna become? A fucking waste of sperm is what you're gonna become. A fucking waste. Because billions of ancestors got you to this point. The chances of you being the one to exist are just statistically fucking impossible. So you should never be thinking about balance. That's the biggest insult to you and your future. But it's great for your feelings to be thinking about balance. So truthfully, thinking about balance at the core is prioritizing your feelings over your future, particularly the feeling of feeling comfortable and safe. But safety and living aren't the same thing. Most of the time, safety and comfort in 2026 are rot and decay and waiting to die. But actually living requires you to take a risk, feel dangerous, feel a chance of a consequence. That's what's gonna truthfully allow you to rise above. In fact, there's tons of studies on this that you only feel the best and the most fulfilled as a man when you're in the flow state, when your capabilities are being stretched in a way where you weren't able to previously do that. So when you do something that you didn't even believe or see or think or just know that you could do, but when you actually go out and do it, that's the most fulfilling thing. And there's tons of studies on it. So yeah, the flow state is everything. The flow state is the most fulfilling thing that you can possibly feel as a man. So yeah, hope you guys like this one. Follow the Instagram, it's _Omar Palmer. If you want to be coached by me and naturally optimize your testosterone by at least 50% in 90 days, or else you don't pay at all, DM me on Instagram. You can also fill out the type form in the bio of this video and in the biography of my YouTube, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get it.